Hey guys, welcome to another video. This is going to be a sort of part 2, maybe a continuation of a little series from the video that I did probably a week ago now, by the time you're watching this, about my spirituality sort of journey. First of all, I cannot begin to express how thankful I am for the support, the advice, the personal anecdotes that I've received since filming and posting that video. It's just been overwhelming, and I've been loving reading all of the lovely comments that people have taken time out of their day to write. Today I just want to continue talking about my beliefs, but go into more in-depth parts about it. So I think this video will sort of be about how I believe everything has a purpose, and everything happens for a reason, and maybe I'll do other videos on other kinds of things. But I also want to preface by saying, if you're a rationalist who tries to explain everything through science and who will just try and debunk everything I say, this video and this channel is not for you. It's not for you. I'm talking to the theists and the people who want to know more about the universe. That's who I want to connect with. While I respect science in every way, shape and form, there are some things which I don't think can be explained through equations. So if you guys would prefer clicking off, then that's perfectly fine. I don't really have long to talk about this, but I just had ideas flowing to me just now, sitting in my bed. And like last time, I just felt like the best thing is to just sort of get it out there and talk about it. When I say everything happens for a reason, I don't mean every specific thing has a real reason. I mean wider things. When looking at like bad things or difficult things that happen in your life, when you look at it from like a wider perspective, you can see the reasoning and how that experience helped you in life, no matter how awful it was at the time. Like I can think of so many times that I've had to remind myself everything happens for a reason, and I come out of that situation and I look back at it and I think that was the reason. There's still things in my life right now and I'm waiting for the reason to come. I'm waiting for it to come. One of them is this huge weird thing that's happening in my life at the minute that I talked about in the last video. I feel like it's sort of a faith in itself. Like people take faith in like God and prayers, and people take faith in knowing their family is watching down on them from heaven and things like that, and that God's taking care of them. And I think another way to take faith is that everything happens for a reason, and that's always been my personal faith. I genuinely can't think of the last time that something horrible happened and I look back on it and I can't figure out why I had to experience that. And I feel like that's just sort of a part of life. Like that's part of life's lessons, or if you prefer, God's teaching, God's lessons that he gives to you. And I genuinely don't think that curveballs are thrown at us in life to throw us off. I think that they're thrown at us to help us develop and become better people morally, and also just in ourselves, like knowing where we are with ourselves and becoming like wiser, giving us more knowledge that maybe isn't especially empirical, you know? I genuinely, if you're watching this, I genuinely want you to think back to something bad that happened in your life. It doesn't have to be awful. It can just be something that sort of ruined your day a little bit. I genuinely want you to think of that and try and think of a wider, from a bigger perspective as to why that would have happened. Not in the perspective of like, oh, C happened because B happened, which was caused by A. I don't mean that. I mean like this happened, which led to this, which taught me this, which helped me grow with this. You know? The number just hit 555 as I said that, just to let you know. Try and think of a time like that and just try and think of a deeper meaning and a deeper purpose for that thing happening. Now, if you believe in God and you believe that he throws you these things in life to help you develop your souls, I think that's a great way of looking at it. If you don't believe in God, or you believe in a divine power or a divine energy that brings things round, like yin yang and karma, then that's also a great way of looking at it. Like, these bad things happen so these good things can happen. I think that every faith and every individual can believe in their own thing, but lots of the roots are the same thing. So like I talked about in the last one, I've studied Buddhism, and what they would say about everything happens for a reason isn't directly like directed at that quote, but there's things that you can take out of the other teachings which would make sense in it. Like, for example, bad things happen in our life so we can grow from them to reach enlightenment, or so we can detach ourselves, so we can understand that attachment is the root of all of our suffering, and if we don't have those attachments, these situations don't come about. That's probably the best way of looking at it from a Buddhist perspective. But the thing that sticks with me is that, I know I've said this a few times, but it's that I've always said that, and I've never had a specific faith in like a god or a divine being. I've had faith in the universe is all I would say. I've never believed in an actual god or God himself, but I've always had the vision in my mind that everything happens for a reason, always. And when you really take a step back from your life and you start putting into practice trying to understand why the things are happening, it can help you grow as a person, and it can help you just be a happier human being. Like, I'm gonna stand up and say I've been a pessimist. I've been negative about things. I've looked at my life and I've thought, how the flip can this get any worse? Everything in my life is horrible right now. But you have to just take that step back and look at it from a wider perspective and think, this is just a day, this is just a week, this is just a month, this is just a year of my life. And what's going to happen is it's going to make every single day, every single week, every single month, every single year of the rest of my life improve because of this one thing. Not even improve in like physical ways, but mentally, the way you can approach things and the way you can deal with things in the future. The only way you're going to be able to develop that is from growing from these situations that happen to you. I don't believe there's any specific causation, which maybe a lot of Christians think. I don't think there's a specific causation of these things that happen, but I believe that when they happen, there is an alternative way of looking at it and taking it for yourself to grow your soul. There are, like I said earlier, there are things in my life that I have no idea the reasoning of yet. But even when I look back at the past 2 years of my life when I really struggled in my first year of college, and I think about why I struggled and I pick apart those things, and then I look at where I am now, I can really understand why I had to go through that to be in such a positive space that I am now. Like, if those things had never happened, I would have never... If I hadn't struggled so much in dance, I would have never dropped it, and then I would have never discovered criminology, which has opened so many doors for me in life with my A-levels and my grades and my universities that I've applied to. Like, these just, even like these little things that you can just put into a storyline and you're like, oh, you know? And then there's bigger pictures of things. Like, when I think about a breakup with someone that I had that felt like the end of the world when it happened, and I look at it now, 2 years later, and I see how much I've flipping grown as a person because of the things that happened to me in that relationship, and because of the things that happened during that breakup, and the ways I felt after that breakup. When I think about that and I think about who I am now, I wouldn't be the person I am without that heartbreak and without that, I'm not even gonna lie, horrible experience of my life. I would never even be close to the person I am today. And the person I am today is the person who's understanding all of this and who's talking to you and who is reaching out about these amazing things that's happening in life. Do you know what I mean? That's the person I am now because of all these things that have happened to me. I'm only 17. And it only excites me to think about how much more I can experience in my life, good and bad, because I know that whatever bad things happen, I can grow from them and I will become a better person because of them. Now, if you believe in coincidences, this next part probably isn't for you, But this is a perfect example of everything happens for a reason. That's happened to me recently. Okay, so my neighbours got burgled a while back, which made me want to go and put all my money into my bank account, which made me leave the house and go down to my local bank, which I hadn't done in ages, which made me put all my money in my bank. And then as I left the bank, I was going to get the bus home, but the buses were cancelled, which made me walk home. And as I walked home, I wasn't doing any shopping, and I walked past this one charity shop and I thought, I'm going to have a look in there. And you know what I found? A book that I'd been looking for so long, my favourite book in hardback, collector's edition, for £4. It's sold for £30, £40 everywhere I'd looked. If my neighbours hadn't have been burgled, I would have never found that book for £4. If you believe in coincidences and you say that's a coincidence, whatever. I don't believe in coincidences. What the hell is that all about? Obviously that's like a littler thing on a smaller scale, but of the wider things, like I talked about earlier, the deep emotional things and torment that you can go through, and you don't feel like there's a way out at the time, or that there's good gonna come from it at the time, and then there is. To the people I love and the people I know, I try and preach that as much as I can, because especially in dark times, it's hard. It's really hard to look for the silver lining and remember that it could be worse, or it will get better, because that's the last thing you want to hear when you're going through a hard time. But if you truly take that and you think about it and you keep that with you in those experiences, you can change your life. You can change your life. Like that, it switches your mentality and it changes your life. And like I said earlier, even if it is just a faith, even if it is just this like total rubbish, it makes me a better person, and to me, that's all I need. It makes me a better person outwardly and inwardly to myself, and personally I think it makes my soul develop more and become closer to that divine intervention which we're all looking for in life and striving for. Anyway, I think that is my rant about purpose in life for now. I've been rambling for like 15 minutes, my throat's getting dry. But I just want to say again, thank you so much for the support on my last video about this. And again, please give me any of your personal opinions, personal stories about this topic in the comments, because I've really loved reading them all so much. I've loved reading them all. So please do that again. And I will see you in my next video. Did I end the last one with normal outro? I don't know. I'll be back again very soon to talk about absolutely nothing. Bye. And Ez, I'm just going to put this in there because otherwise you might feel a bit embarrassed. My best friend Ez says, hi YouTube. I literally just finished recording when that came through, but at least says hi.